Now let's focus on different types of incentive plans. Now when we talk of incentive plans, we are basically dealing with three different levels. One is the individual level, then we talk of group level incentive plans, and then at the organization, which is the enterprise incentive plan. Now for an individual, we had talked about this piecework dependent on the production standards or the unit of number of products being produced. So that is piecework. So the more the individual employee produces, he is entitled for a higher kind of payout. Then there is standard hour plan, which is your time plan, that the number of hours are stipulated and the employee is given certain output in those hours. But if the employee is a good performer, he or she can do it maybe in the half the time or less the time, and the rest remaining time he can then again use those that time for his own good, or can use it for producing something more. So that is the standard hour plan, that even in that less time he or she gets entitled for the same pay which was given for that particular, let's say, 8 hours. Then there are bonuses, which again an employee is entitled to: merit pay, lump sum merit pay, incentive awards, sales incentive, incentive for professional employees. Now, all these are incentives. It just depends what kind of a profession or what kind of function a person is performing. Basis that, these sort of incentives are worked out. And executive compensation. So, for those people, like for sales incentive, it could be that number of units being sold. There could be certain slabs that, okay, whatever you sell, the 10% of your turnover, that is the sales turnover, would be your extra income, that is incentive. Or it could be that you achieve this particular slab, you go beyond, your target is 100%, you achieve 100 to 120%, you get a reward of, let's say, 50,000 rupees, or depending on the amount of that product he's handling, there could be a certain monetary kind of incentive attached. Or in recent times, instead of giving cash awards, there have been certain awards, like a trip to some foreign destination, or a family holiday in a very, like, luxurious kind of resort. So all these things have now been incorporated at an individual level of incentive plan. Coming to group levels, there could be team compensation. So getting your own individual salary is one thing, but the moment, because it is a teamwork, typically in project work and all, where the teams are working together, so they get compensated or they get rewarded basis the achievement of that project. So then it is according to the level or the hierarchy or whatever, it gets distributed amongst the employee who were there in that particular team. Then there are plans which are called by different name. We will be talking about them in little detail in the following slides. Profit sharing, stock option, and ESOPs, this will again be taken up in the following slides. So coming to first individual plans, now there were various incentive plans. Again, if you recall, early 20th century, when the industrial revolution was picking up, it had gained pace, it was established across the globe, manufacturing concerns were coming up. Industrial engineers like Taylor and all these names, Taylor, Halsey, Rowan, Bidu, all the Emerson, Merrick, Nat. So all these are the names of the industrial engineers of that era. Now, what they were doing in different part of globes, when I say different part, you can focus mainly on European countries or American countries. So these were the people who were actually with their stopwatches and all, observing their workers, observing their employees, how they were going about doing their work. If you recall the Hawthorne studies way back in 1920s, so that is exactly what was being done. They were observing the productivity of a group of people or individuals, that how are they working at their workstation. So even the point of being, like, picking up stuff, keeping it in certain way, how many movements were involved, so on and so forth. So these are the things which were being studied. Basis those studies, these sort of wage incentive plans were devised by these different people. Now we will take up the first one. If you remember, Frederick W. Taylor, he is also called the father of scientific management. So he came up with other things, other management concepts. This is one incentive plan which he came out with, which is known by the name Taylor's differential piece rate plan. Now, as the name suggests, there is a differential piece rate. That means the number of unit being produced by a worker. And the underlying principle of this system is to penalize a slow worker by paying him a low piece rate for low production, and to reward an efficient worker by giving him a higher piece rate for higher production. Right? So that is what this whole differential piece rate plan is all about. Taylor was of the view that an inefficient worker should have no place in the organization, and he should be compelled to leave the organization by paying him a low piece rate for low production. As simple as that. So Taylor was of the view that only high performers or good performers should be there in the organization. Anybody who is not interested to work is not should not be the part of the organization. In this scheme, there are two piece rates and no guarantee of minimum wage rate. So this is what, there is no guarantee. So if you're working less, you get paid less. Simple as that. So for example, if the standard production has been fixed at 8 units per day of 8 hours, right? Taking normal piece rate as rupee 1. The higher piece rate for 8 units or beyond may be 1.20. So a person who is producing 10 units in those 8 hours will be paid at 1 rupee 20 paisa. Whereas a person who produces less, that is, that the lower rate for an output of less than 8 units per day may be 80 paisa per unit. So instead of producing 8 units, a slow worker is only able to produce 5. So the moment in that 8 hour, the moment he does that, instead of being paid 1 rupee, that worker will be paid at the rate of 80 paisa per unit. So that is the kind of differential treatment given to good performers and the low performers. And the penalty, continuous penalty for that slow performer will force ultimately for that worker to leave the organization. Because I, as a slow performer, would feel bad every month or every day if I'm getting paid less than what I have not been able to do. I would look for opportunities where I can get a better treatment. Right? So this system is very harsh to the inefficient workers because they earn much less wages on account of lower output and lower rate. So this is one of the typical examples for individual incentive plan. Now I had shown you the list of other incentive plans. So there are various variations wherein somebody took the time thing, somebody talked about minimum guarantee of the wages, and then there was a kind of incentive given or additional thing being produced. So even if a slow worker is working under different plans, they would still get that kind of minimum wage guarantee, which might be low, but the fact was everybody used to get that minimum guarantee of wage, and over and above, if the person is producing more, they get rewarded or they get that sort of incentive. Now let's talk about the group incentive plan. Now group incentive plan, the most again famous one is the Scanlon plan. Now this is again a person who devised this plan, and he designed it in a way to involve the workers in making suggestions for reducing the cost of operation by improving the working methods and sharing the gains of increased productivity. So in a way, it is more to do, if you ever have heard about these Japanese ways, that everybody is supposed to make certain kind of suggestions regarding their work areas to improve the production process or improve the overall working condition and productivity of the organization. So in such a case, this sort of suggestion, if made by any worker, and it is able to reduce any cost of operation, whatever is the saving is shared between those group of workers, because that save them certain costs. So it is in a way good for both the employer as well as the employee, because the team is taking up suggestion of one worker, incorporating it, making sure the costs are reduced, so the productivity is increasing, which is good for the employer, and also the employees are getting something in return as a reward or as a kind of incentive. So for them also, it is motivates them to give such suggestions. Now there is another concept of group incentive plans, which is called impro share. Now impro means, it stands for improved productivity sharing. Impro share, this is what it is. So gain sharing based on increases in productivity of the standard hour output of work teams. Here we were talking of cost, here we are talking of standard hour output. Now share plan is similar to Scanlon plan in that it rewards production efficiency. Unlike a Scanlon plan, however, in the impro share approach measures the number of production hours rather than the cost of labor. Right? So here if you see, we are talking of efficiency again, that those standards are being met and things are improved beyond those standards. Now, the third type of plans, incentive plans, is your enterprise incentive plan, which is typically talking about sharing of the profits. Now, we talk of profit sharing. It is basically regarded as the stepping stone to industrial democracy. It involves the determination of an organization's profits at the end of financial year and distribution of a percentage of the profits to workers qualified to share the earning. The proportion of profits to be distributed among the employees is determined in the advance, and the employees should have some minimum qualification as per company condition. There are three types of profit sharing plans: current, deferred, and the combination. Now, what does this whole points are leading to is that the in the beginning of the financial year, the management sits with trade unions and they decide that whatever is the profit, it will be shared with the employees at a certain percentage. Now, it could be 50% of the profit or it could be 75% of the profit, depending on how liberal the management is. And it is negotiated, of course. It is the collective bargaining process takes place. And once it is decided, it is then the whole year, it is the year everybody is motivated to achieve more profits, because if I am an employee and I know that I'll get whatever profits the company earns, a 50% out of that, I would definitely be motivated enough to put in my best efforts. And again, the best part about profit sharing kind of incentive plan is that if there are losses, then employee does not have to contribute any which ways in the losses. Then he gets his guaranteed minimum wage. But and there are different types. Current, deferred, and combination means that the moment we decide about it, like today we say, okay, we are going to go ahead and we sort of after a year the profits are calculated basis that 50% is distributed between the employees. That is current. Deferred would be that okay, we will try and do it for the next 5 years, and 5 years, these are the sort of targets we have, and these are the kind of let's say 50% of the profits will be distributed, and only after 5 years we'll start distributing those profits in a phased manner. So that could be deferred plan, and it could be combination that some part of it is retained for the future disbursement, and some part of it is distributed once those profits or the targets are accrued, right? So this is the profit sharing kind of incentive plan at the organizational level. Now in India, this sort of profit sharing has not really taken up. Reason being that in India, the bonus is one thing which is more preferred by the trade unions and the employees. Bonus is what that they are insured of their 1 month kind of salary if the things are fine, irrespective whether the company is earning profits or not. That working, let's say, for 12 months but getting a salary of 13 months is what bonus is all about. So 1 month salary is insured, and that is a law that is governed by your payment of bonus act. Now it was the concept of bonus basically started as an ad hoc and ex gratia payment. Ex gratia payment means something out of gratitude. So that is what ex gratia payment is, that it is not really directly linked to your salary. It is something which is ex gratia, that the employer is trying to show his or the its gratitude to the employees, and it was claimed as dearness allowance during World War II. So that is where its roots are. This under the Payment of Bonus Act 1965, which is in India, this act was passed. It secured the character of a legal right. The dictionary meaning of bonus is extra payment to the workers beyond the normal wage. And according to the Payment of Bonus Act, when we say Bonus Act, it started in 1965, it was implemented in 1965, and it has been amended time to time. The last, I think, the amendment was in 2015. Before that, it was 1985. So now that according to this plan, the mandatory annual payment of bonus to eligible employees of establishment which employ 20 or more people. So that is the basic thing. Any business which has more than 20 employees will be liable, or it is a statutory compliance which has to be met, that the company is supposed to pay bonus to their employees. It is to be paid to every employee who draws a salary as mandated in the act. So there is a certain limit at times which is revised from time to time, as I said, and this we will talk in detail. So All those people who are earning less than that benchmark are mandatorily have to be given this bonus. Salary for the purpose of bonus means pay plus the dearness allowance. That is what is the base which is taken into account, and 60% of the surplus should be allocated for payment of bonus. So whatever is the company earning, it should be allocated. The Payment of Bonus Act has now been merged under Code of Wages 2019, and we will be taking up this in detail in our following slides. So this is about bonus, another way of sharing enterprise level incentives. Now we talk of employee stock ownership plan, which is another enterprise level incentive plan. An employee stock ownership plan, which is normally we call it an ESOP, is an employee benefit plan that gives workers ownership interest in the company. So the employee is becoming a owner in a way because he or she owns few shares of the company or the stock of the company. The ESOPs enable the stakeholders receive various tax benefits, making them qualified plans. So it is not something which is not right or something. It is there, and both the parties, the promoters of the company and the employees, if such a plan is floated, they get certain tax benefits. Companies often use ESOPs as corporate finance strategies to align the interest of their employees with those of their shareholders, because employees also become the shareholders once they own that stock. Now, employees stock ownership plan is similar to profit sharing. How? Because as it was in profit sharing, the whatever is the profit the company is earning, it is divided amongst the employees as well. Here it is that when this owner, the employee becomes a kind of owner by holding a part of that equity of the company, he or she is also committed to work better, because the more the employee works towards the growth of the company, the equity of the company increases, and that ultimately again gives back, the returns comes back to that employee. This ESOP is a qualified defined contribution benefit plan that invests primarily in the stock of the company, and the employer makes yearly contribution that accumulate to produce a benefit that is not predefined. So for example, if an employee joins today, it is a part of the cost to the company or whatever is the plan which is there to compensate the employee. For example, if let's say this is employee is promised that the cost to the company, the whole package is around 50 lakhs per annum. Now out of that 50 lakh, the company can say that every month 1 lakh would be invested in the stock. So we will not be giving you out, doling out that 1 lakh. Instead, we will be giving you stocks of the or the shares of the company. Now this employee, let's say by, and there are certain, this qualified, right, it is a qualified thing, so there are certain qualifications or criteria attached to it, that that the employee would be holding those stock options only till the time he or she is the employee of that company, meaning the day the company, he resigns from the company or retires from the company will be buying back that share. So once the person resigns or retires or exits from the company, and the company buys back, the company will be buying back at the current value of that stock price. Now, that is how the employee who has those stocks would be motivated that those share prices are always high or are increases or on the growth path. So, if let's say today, the when the employee has joined the company, and as I said, 1 lakh per month is converted into the share of the company, and the share is 1,000 rupees each. So you can say after 4 years, 5 years, when he is retiring or resigning, the stock price is somewhere 5,000 per share. So you can see the kind of amount a person has made, or that would be something which would be converted into cash and paid to that employee who is separating from the company. So this is how this whole employee stock ownership plan works. And definitely there are certain lock-in periods that, okay, once a company person joins the company, this in cashing of those stocks can only be after 3 years, 5 years, depending on that company. So these in this way, it is more to do that the employee is loyal and working hard for the growth of the company. So this is what employee stock ownership plans are. Again, to incentivize an employee who is working in the organization, and this is going to impact at the enterprise level. If the company grows, then the employee who is having that ESOP will also be benefited. So it's a win-win kind of thing, motivating the person, the employee, to perform more, right? So this is how we cover the various incentive plans. Let me know if you have any queries. Stay tuned for more content.